Hello everyone, and welcome back with another game mechanic. Today, we're building a universal third-person interaction system in Unity. From this system, our player can automatically detect interactable objects in front of player, display a dynamic interaction prompt, perform instant interactions, or hold a key to interact with a progress indicator. And because the system is reusable, we can use the same player logic for pickups, doors, switches, and pretty much any other interactable object. So let's build it. I've already created a very simple third-person test scene with Unity's third-person controller. And we have three types of interactable: a pickup interactable, a door, and a switch. Now, all the interactable have different behavior, but we'll handle them with a reusable system. First of all, let's take a look at the interaction UI. I'm using one shared UI panel on the main canvas. We have our interaction text, and underneath it, I have a whole progress image. For the progress image, I have set the image type to filled, the fill method to radial 360. And we'll control its fill amount directly from our interaction system. Now let's start with the most important part of the architecture. Let's create a new C# script and name it IInteractable. Let's open up the script. I'm going to replace the default class with this interface. You might be wondering why we're using an interface instead of a normal class. The reason is that our interactable objects can be completely different. A pickup, door, light switch, or button already has its own behavior, and we don't want to force all of them to use the same implementation. And now let's define what every interactable needs to provide. Let's take a look at every variable. First of all, we have IInteraction prompt, which tells the UI what action we're performing. After that, we have can interact, which lets an object enable or disable interaction. Next, we have hold to interact, which decides whether we press the key once or hold it. And next is hold duration, which tells the player how long that interaction should take. And finally, we have interact method, which is the actual action performed by the object. The important idea here is that our player doesn't need to know whether it's interacting with a door, a pickup, or a light switch. It only needs to know that the object implements IInteractable. This interface is basically a contract for every interactable object in our game. Now let's see that in action. For this, I'll create another script called pickup interaction. And I'll attach this script to our pickup object. Open up the script, and the very first thing I'll do is to implement our IInteractable interface. By doing this, we're telling our interaction system that this pickup is an interactable object, and because it implements IInteractable, it must provide all the properties and the interact method that we defined in our interface. Let Visual Studio to generate the required interface members for us. Now I'll add a few serialized settings for this pickup. These are serialized so we can configure each interactable directly from the inspector without changing the code. The item name will be used to generate our interaction prompt, while these interaction settings control whether the object can currently be interacted with, whether it requires a hold interaction, and how long that hold should take. For example, we can make this pickup interactable, enable hold to interact, and require the player to hold the interaction pickup for 2 seconds. Now we just need to expose these values through the properties required by our IInteractable interface. Now, if our item name is key, the interaction prompt automatically becomes pickup key. And because hold to interact is enabled with a duration of 2 seconds, the player will need to hold the interaction key for 2 seconds. Finally, we can implement the interaction itself. In our interact method, we are simply destroying the current pickup game object. In a real game, this is where you could add the item to an inventory, play an animation, trigger audio, or run whatever gameplay logic you need. And that's the advantage of the interface. Every object controls its own interaction behavior. That is for pickup interaction. And now we need the system that actually finds these objects. So let's create a new script called player interaction. And attach it to the player. Open up the script. Now this script has 3 jobs to do: detect an interactable, select the best target, and handle the player's input. First of all, let's add our settings. Most of these variables belong to our detection system. We can control how far the player can interact, the allowed interaction angle, and which physics layer contains our interactable objects. Then we store the currently selected interactable and a timer for hold interactions. Now our current interactable is public because our UI will need to know which object the player is currently targeting. Next, let's expose the hold progress. Here we are converting our timer into a value between 0 and 1. First, we are checking if current interactable equals null or current interactable is not set to hold to interact. Then we are returning 0. And if current interactable is not null or current interactable is set to hold to interact, then we are returning the clamp value between 0 to 1. So if the interaction takes 2 seconds and we've been holding for 1 second, our progress will be 0.5. And now we get to the main detection logic. Now, inside our detection method, the first thing we need to do is find all the possible interactable objects around the player and prepare to select the closest one. We start with no detected interactable and set the closest distance to infinity so that any valid object we find can become our first target. Then physics.overlap sphere searches around our interaction origin using the radius we set in the inspector, but only checks objects on our interaction layer. It returns all of those nearby colliders, and next we'll filter them to find the best interactable. Here we loop through every collider returned by our overlap sphere and try to find an IInteractable on that object or its parent. If it doesn't implement our interface, we simply ignore it, and even if it is interactable, we also skip it when can interact is false. So from this point forward, we're only working with valid objects that are actually available for interaction. Now we have a valid interactable, but we still need to check if it's actually in front of a player. So we'll calculate the direction of interaction origin to interactable. I'm removing the Y value because for this third-person system, I only want the horizontal direction to affect our angle check. And after that, we'll calculate the distance and skip if distance is less than 0.01. Next, we normalize that direction and use vector3.angle to compare it with the player's forward direction. Next, we check if the object falls outside our interaction angle. We ignore it. We use half of the angle here because our interaction area extends to both the left and right of the player's forward direction. And finally, if this object is closer than the best one we found so far, it becomes our new interaction target. Once the loop finishes, we now have the best interactable target. Before assigning it, we just need to check if our target has changed. Now we'll check if the detected object is different from our current interactable. We reset any hold interaction that was already in progress. Then we simply assign the newly detected object as our current interactable. So overall, this method finds nearby objects, filters out invalid ones, checks our interaction angle, selects the closest valid target, and resets the hold progress whenever that target changes. Now that we have a target, handling the input is straightforward. First, we need to make sure there's actually something available to interact with. If there's no current interactable, we reset any hold progress and return immediately, because there's nothing else for this method to process. Now we'll handle our first interaction type, an instant interaction. This is for objects like doors, buttons, or switches where the player only needs to press the interaction key once. Here we check if hold to interact is disabled. If it is, we wait for a single press of our interaction key and then simply call the object's interact method after that. We return because there is no hold interaction to process for this object. Now for hold interactions, instead of calling interact immediately, we need to track how long the player keeps the interaction key pressed. While the interaction key is held, we increase our hold timer using time.delta time. Once that timer reaches the hold duration defined by the current interactable, we mark the interaction as completed and call its interact method. This interaction completed check makes sure the interaction only fires once, even if the player continues holding the key. And finally, if the player releases the interaction key, we need to cancel and reset the current hold progress. Now let's quickly complete our reset hold method. Its job is simply to clear the current hold interaction. And finally, inside update, every frame we first find the best interaction target and then process input for that target. Our actual interaction system is now working. We just need to connect it to the UI. Back to Unity and select our player and assign the interaction origin transform to player interaction. And I also set the layer of interactables to interactable. So set the interaction layer mask to interactable. And now let's create one final script called interaction UI and attach it to our interaction UI object. This script doesn't detect anything and it doesn't perform interactions. Its only job is to display the current state of the player interaction system. Now, first of all, we add our references and interaction settings. We need our player interaction, the main UI panel, the prompt text, and our radial progress image. And keeping these references serialized also means we can connect everything directly from the inspector. And now in start, we'll make sure everything begins in the correct state. The interaction panel starts hidden and our progress begins at 0. Now that we have the current interactable from our player system, we'll create a method to update interaction user interface. The first thing we'll do is decide whether the interaction UI should even be visible. If there is no interactable currently selected, we simply hide both the interaction panel and the whole progress UI, then return because there is nothing else to update. But as soon as the player detects a valid interactable, we enable the interaction panel. Now that the UI is visible, we can check whether this object uses a hold interaction or normal instant interaction and display the correct prompt. First, if the current object requires a hold interaction, we dynamically build our prompt using the interaction key and the prompt provided by the interactable. So for our key, this will display something like hold E to pick up key. Because this is a hold interaction, we enable the progress UI and set the image's fill amount using the hold progress value we created earlier. And for objects that don't require holding, we'll use the same UI but handle them as a normal instant interaction. Here we display the normal interaction prompt without the word hold. And since this interaction only requires a single key press, we hide the hold progress UI and reset its fill amount back to 0. So this method automatically switches our UI depending on the current interactable showing, either a normal interaction prompt or a hold prompt with radial progress. And finally, we just need to call this method every frame, so the UI always stays synchronized with our player interaction system. Now that our interaction logic and UI are connected, let's head back into Unity and assign all the required references. And with everything assigned, let's enter play mode and test our first interactable. Let's move our player toward the pickup object. As soon as the pickup enters our valid interaction range and angle, a prompt appears automatically. And if I change the rotation of player, you can see our interaction panel disappear. Because this pickup uses hold to interact, the radial indicator fills as we hold E. And if I release the key early, the progress resets. And once the hold duration is reached, the pickup's interact method is called and the object is removed. So our first interaction is working. Next, we'll quickly test the same system with different interactable, and that will be a light switch. And this is where the interface architecture becomes really useful. The exact same player interaction system can now interact with this switch. First of all, we'll create a new script named light switch interaction and attach this script with our light. Open up the script and we'll implement the same IInteractable interface we used for the pickup. So our player can interact with this object without changing any player code. And now we'll add light references and interaction settings. Now let's understand this variable. Here we keep references to all the lights controlled by this switch. Track whether they're currently on or off, and reuse the same interaction settings from our interface. For this switch, hold to interact is disabled, so it will work as an instant interaction. Now we'll expose these settings through our interface, just like we did with the pickup. The only difference is our prompt dynamically switches between turn on and turn off lights based on the current light state. Next, this method simply updates all the lights based on our current light state. We loop through our light objects and turn each one on or off using the lights on value. And finally, inside interact, we'll simply toggle the current light state, and that's it for light switch interaction. And now let's try the same system with something different. A door. Just like our pickup and light switch, the door implements IInteractable, but this time its interact method will control the door animation. When we interact, we toggle the door state and start our rotation coroutine to either open or close it. This coroutine simply chooses the open or close rotation based on our current door state, then smoothly rotates the door toward that target. And notice one thing, we haven't changed anything in our player interaction script. The pickup, light switch, and door all have completely different behaviors, but the player communicates with all of them through the same IInteractable interface. Let's test all three together. I'll start with the door first. As soon as we enter the interaction range, we get our normal interaction UI. And because this is an instant interaction, the whole progress indicator stays hidden. Now, if I press E, the door opens immediately. I'm pressing it again, closes it. Next, let's move over to our pickup. This time, the whole progress UI is enabled because this object uses hold to interact. As I hold E, the progress fills up, and once the required hold duration is reached, the pickup's interact method is called and the object disappears. Finally, let's test the light switch. Again, we get the normal interaction prompt because this uses an instant interaction. And when I press E, the lights switch on and off. So as you can see, we now have one generic and reusable interaction system working with completely different objects. The player doesn't need separate logic for doors, pickups, lights, or buttons. All we need to do is implement IInteractable on a new object, define its interaction settings, and decide what should happen inside interact method. And that's it for today's Unity Mechanics Lab episode. If you want the complete project file, source code, prefabs, and demo scene, you can find them on the Devbyte Patreon page. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.